Alright guys, so my head's probably a little cut off in the shot, I don't know. I tried a couple times trying to get it, but this is the Ertl 1/64 scale grain elevator, or as Ertl calls it, the grain feed set. And this is fairly new, but it's not brand new. Oh, yes it is, 2022. I was thinking this had been out for a couple years, but I guess not. So this is the assembly of this product. I got this at the Oblong Antique Tractor and Engine Show in Illinois. But if you guys watched the previous video, you are aware of that already. So, much like the machine shop that I did a while back, everything is very tightly packed together. Gee, I can't imagine that this is a silo. Aha. We have a base. I'm sure all this stuff's made in China, but all Ertl stuff still says Dyersville, Iowa. We have a building. We have a Tyler transport truck, which I have a bunch of grain trucks, but I may still open this up just because the top for this will fit one of my other grain trucks that doesn't have a top. So. We've got a divider. Let's just dump this out. Hay bales. Oh, cool. I get some actual scale hay bales instead of stuff that's way too big. Silo tops and bases. This was stuck at the bottom of the box. More silos. And this is most likely an instruction sheet. This is, yes it is. Alright, I'm sure that you guys are going to want to see this. I may just scan it and put it in the video because I'm sure that me holding it, I'm not really going to get it in the shop very well. So I'll probably just scan it and put it in there. Although most of this, I certainly would hope anyway, that I can figure out. Let's do the building first. The building, none of this stuff is numbered, so I can't really tell you it's bag number 4 or whatever. The building has the building facing out, the wall, and it's got a red top. Oh, maybe these aren't actually sealed. Maybe they're all just taped. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think any of these are actually sealed, heat sealed. They're just tape shut. I won't need that for a while. So one side of the building goes in a slot here, and the other side goes in here, but I think the roof holds the whole building together. Oh. Hey, dummy. It's got to have a front and a back. I think this is still the old click fit system that Ertl used back in the 90s when they made the machine shop that I did in a different... I think I did that machine shop in a different video. Now that I think about it, I'm not really sure I did an assembly on that. Although this building looks oddly familiar. There's no copyright on it though. Made in Vietnam, but it doesn't really say the copyright year. This doesn't sit on top, does it? Nope. Alright, don't do what I just did. Don't put all the walls together first, because the roof does not just sit on top of everything like I assume that it does. I gotta take this wall entirely off of here without breaking something. They shouldn't come apart. They seem to fit together very well. So, it doesn't even really tell you what order to put stuff together in, which is okay. I mean, I'm sure they're assuming that you know how to put together something that you've not ever put together before. That's alright. I'm sure we can figure out how to put together this building. It doesn't have that many pieces to go with it. We've got to be missing something. Alright. Look for these other parts that go with this building. Alright, everything for the building is not in one bag. Your bracing for the building is in the bag with the fencing. I'm assuming those are supposed to be hay bales, the sawhorse, and the little, I'm going to call them a safety basket, these platforms that you would stand on the grain elevator. And this one is sealed shut instead of taped. I wonder why they didn't put all of the pieces together in one box. That is a little odd. I'm assuming that goes on before the wall. I've put this building together twice now, and I'm glad I finally figured out where the missing pieces were at. Okay. Yep, that's how that's supposed to go. So these little triangular angle joists go on the dashed part of the building with the slots on them. Goes on the roof. That's why it's red. So it all matches. And then the building snaps in this slot here after you put the walls together. You meet up the corners and snap that stuff together like so. This is probably not going to be a very helpful how-to video because I'm kind of learning on this too. There's your building that sits right there, and I am almost positive it does not have a front or a back. Okay. What do we want to do now? Let's do this because we have those pieces out already. Forgive me if this video is not very informational. None of the it doesn't really say which one of these baskets goes where, platforms. That's a part of it. This isn't very helpful. I don't know how helpful your instruction sheet's going to be. I would just look at the box myself. I think that's going to save me from a lot of problems. I'm sure it matters. Yes, it does. The post that has the thicker pegs on it goes into the platform like so. And before I forget to do it, the platform that has the fully enclosed basket must go here. I gotta see what I'm doing here. the pins are different sizes on the tops of this thing. There we go. Okay, yeah, this should not ever come apart. These snap together really good. Let me look here. Okay. Then you want to get your chute, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, this just sits there. That doesn't attach. And this goes in. The base is heavier than all this stuff. This little piece here goes into this slot in the post, and then it goes into the third hole of the platform. And then see your truck drives under here and gets unloaded into. There's a right and a wrong way to put this together, so pay attention to it. Alright, the dotted line, the peg that has the little rounded edge on it, that's on the same side as the auger chute, goes in on the same side. No. The auger's got to match up there. Goes on top, okay. The rounded edge on the opposite side is the auger chute. Goes in the tower. Apparently. I'm sure all this is supposed to match up and go in this hole without breaking anything. I don't see that happening at all. And your auger adjusts a little bit, it looks like. Alright. All this crap looks the same. These are going to be fun to figure out how these all go. I know they go to the silos, but that's not real helpful. Let me go ahead and get out these other parts that it looks like I'm going to need. Some of them I can tell what they're supposed to be, and some of them I have no idea. I know what those are. All this stuff I'm pulling out right now, these dark red pieces come out of the bag with the fencing, the wheelbarrow, the sawhorse, and apparently what are supposed to be hay bales. These instructions suck. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Yeah, let's look at the box. That's going to help me a lot more. Alright, so our platform first hand goes on top of all of this with the open end of the platform on the same side as the chute. And then it looks like that's not right. Something's got to go between those two things, right? No? Okay. I guess not. This little piece here. None of these pieces look like what they show on here. Oh, okay, I see what this is. These go together in some way. Not really sure how they go together. I see how this goes. This goes like that. This may not really connect very well to anything except for the chute here. Alright, let's take this off so you can see what I'm doing here. This goes on the top of your auger chute, and then this little round guy goes like that. And they don't fit together real well, just to let you know. Okay, let's get the building out of the way here. I forgot to put this in here, so I gotta figure out where it goes. Oh, okay, that's cool. Alright, this just goes... Apparently... Does it just go on whatever level you want it to? I'm sure it goes on this level here. But there's a connector thing that goes on the top of it. And I'm sure that something is supposed to go on top of that connector. Yeah, okay. So you can apparently have your silos wherever you want them to be, as long as they're not within a roadblock of the actual elevator itself. And then your silos are going to be, you probably can't see this now. I gotta just be scooting over a little bit. Your silos are going to be like out here. So I guess it's going to depend on how tall the silo is, where this thing goes. So let's put our silos together first. This, surely to goodness, is the biggest silo. And it has a smaller silo inside of it. Alright. They just stuck parts together for no apparent reason. This is a really heavy piece of plastic. Oh. This is the bottom of a silo. I'm going to assume it's the bottom of this silo. And obviously this is the top. And there's no particular... The base I just put on there has slots. You have to match the slots up. The roof, there's not really a particular... It just kind of goes on like a lid to a cup. Like so. Okay? These are really nice quality plastic. It's not some cheap plastic that you're going to break right away. Now only the big silo has anything coming off of it. However, all these little red things are the same size. All these little red things go in the hole in the top of the silo. So you repeat that process until you run out of silos. Because you're not going to get the big one built first unless you take all the parts out and pull it apart first. Here's the top. And that top's not going over. There we go. Here's the top. Not that it matters because you can't tell. That one had, alright, there we go. That one's together. I think all of these are the same. I hope all of these are the same. Okay, I lied. The short silos, this little red disc is mostly flat. A little bit concave, but it's mostly flat. And then the little angled part that goes into the top of the silo. The one for the big silo has a little nipple on the top of that concave red top. That's going to go in the big silo. And your top and bottom for the big silo come in their own own little baggie here. Always cut away from yourself if you're going to open it with a knife. How interesting, the base for the big silo is not cone-shaped like the base for the other two. And make sure you put your silo together properly. It's about the size of your, little bigger than the size of your calf muscle. Yeah, so don't put it together like I just tried to. Line up your holes on one side. Let's find the side of the ladder. That way we can differentiate here. Your side that has the ladder here. On one side it's got a skinny post, a fat post, and a skinny post. On the other side it's got a fat post, a skinny post, and a fat post. So you're going to alternate on the other piece. The skinny posts go into the fat post, and that's how that's going to work. So just try to alternate them and they should go together. This stuff fits together really good. I'm actually, for it being plastic, it's durable plastic. It's quality that I would expect from Ertl. Where's the base thing that goes in here? That's right here. All right. There's a little red thing. It's what it is a dryer, but you can't really tell that on this size. But this little red guy here is gonna go. Does it not matter? Yeah, nope, it doesn't matter. Wow, okay. So for your base having all these slots in it, it really doesn't matter what angle you want your base to go in, as long as you put this little red thing in between the, just so it doesn't pull out there. Alright, now that's in there. The little dryer fan's in there. And I'm surprised this stuff doesn't have any decals that goes with it, you know. You make your own decals to go on your silos, because the big one has a flat spot for logo. There you go. There's your completed big silo with your little red dryer. Don't forget that little red fan there. I could see that being forgotten. Then your little red stopper with the nipple on top goes on the big one. Like that. Okay. Now we have all of these little things that look like straws, and they are the different chutes that go from the elevator to each auger. Alright, each of these things look very slightly different. And between each of these straws is a connector that looks like this. It looks just like a real one except for it's red. So that's kind of neat that there was an attempt to make stuff look decent. Now this little short rod here is what was throwing me off before. It goes in the top of this hole that I was talking about earlier, and the big arm here, and then it goes up. Okay, and that holds this thing in place. It's supposed to hold this thing in place. There we go. In the, I assume that's the middle. Yeah, in the middle slot, or it would be my far left slot here on the outside of the thing. Alright, so don't angle that any way you want to. I bet that doesn't go in that slot. It doesn't say which slot it goes into, but it can't go into that slot, because that would put your arm out here, which would put your silos right in front of your road. Okay. Not even sure how that happened, but okay. Okay, now that piece don't go on there, right? I'm just gonna go out and say that when it comes to these little pieces that have to go in a specific spot, these instructions kind of suck. Here's what determines the height of your big piece here. There you go. I'm gonna leave this off right now because it's not going on there, right? And then your two smaller ones. I'm gonna have to move this when I'm done with the video. This is gonna kind of suck. I'll just keep my knife in the building out over there. Obviously, the angled pieces are gonna go down into the building here. It's got a stopper on the end, and then it's got kind of a Y-shaped end on it. That Y-shaped end is supposed to go into these holes here, and unless it matters which one goes where, and I don't think it should. I'm not real sure how you're supposed to get some of this stuff together without breaking it, but these do somehow or another go into. This part may require a tapping apparatus, like a hammer. Do not use the axe end. It would not go well for the plastic. And this isn't going to go well for my fingers. Yeah, I'm not getting it here. So what I had to do was take a square nail from a barn and stick it in the little red thing that goes in the top of the silo. And I had to stick it in the top of the silo and pound that nail through the hole, and then stick that in something else so you can start to pound that nail back out of the hole like so. Like I just did on the other one. Alright, that makes your hole just not much bigger, just a fraction bigger. Then you can get that little plastic piece in there with less of an issue. I don't want to say with no problem, but with less of an issue it goes in there. And it's still tight, so it's still tight when you do that. So when it's all said and done, it should look something along the lines of this. Now, let me tell you, if you don't understand how these work, you're going to have some trouble. I could see that they bite into each other. That's why that's notched out like that, just like lumber. But in case you don't understand that, it does tell you those things go together, and then you slide the red thing down over it, and that kind of holds it together. I'm a little concerned. I have two pieces left over, and I think that's in case you break these two, or if by some chance you ended up with another silo. I don't know. But anyhow, I could see these getting broke. That's probably why these are in here. Then your truck goes under there like so, fills him up, and he's off. Now this does have some fencing and some equipment and some more fencing and some hay bales if you want to go that route. I may do that, but I mean that's kind of up to your interpretation, however you want to put that stuff together. So I got the elevator all put together and reconfigured it a little bit from how the display on the boxes says it's supposed to be. I spun these around. These two little silos actually are supposed to be on either side of the big silo here, but this was not going to fit over there where the pizza place is at, so I scooted this stuff over here and had to scoot the restaurant over. And I kind of did, I know this looks kind of funny that the road's running between them, but believe it or not, the grain elevator here in Walton does the same thing. The grain elevator's on both sides of the road, and so that didn't seem all that unusual to me to do that, and that actually worked a lot better for me. So that's what I did. And then if you watch the other haul video, I had this little International Transtar 2, so I stuck that out here, and then I said I wasn't going to open the Tyler transport truck that came with the set, and you can see why, for obvious reasons. I already have lots of grain trucks, but I needed that top to fit my Ertl Grain Company International, which I like a lot better than that one. So got that top fits perfect because the grain box is the same. Stuck all the hay bales that came with this thing in the back of my 50 Chevy truck. Moved the co-op truck over here. Got the other grain trailer in the barn here, hooked up to the International. Stuck these little Maisto grain trucks here, along with the Kohler silo truck. Then I just stuck some different grain wagons and hoppers and that sort of thing out along the edge. I did use one of the feed bags, or one of the stacks of feed bags, and I didn't set up the fence thing. One thing I want to point out, if you're setting this thing up that I didn't say earlier in the video, make sure your tops of your silos are lined up with the ladders. Because I was looking at that big one and I seen the ladder here, but the ladder on that goes up to the roof was like all the way over here, so that wasn't going to work very well. So I fixed that. And then I thought it'd be fun to set up this giant piece of corn. You know, they have big steel yard art now that looks like that, so I thought, well, that's not actually that silly.